Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class. Welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, your source for nerddom news and commentary. I'm your host, Jared Bachman-Stubbs, and we got a nice little news roundup for you guys. I've had some exciting stuff in the hot sheets, as it were, that we're very, very excited to talk about. As we kind of alluded to before, Travis is going to be on a bit of a mini hiatus as his work life is getting a little chaotic. So see Travis a little sparsely here for the next little while, hitting one of those periods again. But I have been talking to Mitch way too much on Pro and Noob, so I decided to break up the monotony of talking to my favorite British person and, not let TNAP be an annoying fucking sausage fest for once. So riding shotgun with me for her first news roundup is my co-host on the road to Doomsday, Miss Taylor.
Oh my goodness, hello.
So
It's
very
a
excited
girls'
for that.
night.
Girls' night, plus me.
Night.
It's a ladies' night, and the copyright's gonna hit. But we're not alone. We are also joined by a friend of the show, a person I've actually gotten to meet in the real world at
Yes.
Comic Cons and shit, and somebody who is going to be a key correspondent for the topics we have at hand today. We have a friend of the show, B Dazzler, aka Brooke.
Hello, girls' night, love.
Girls'
Happy to be here.
I know, we're excited to have you. We were saying right before we started that I was like, holy shit, like it's been so long since Brooke's been on the show. It was like since Jedi Survivor came out. And I was like, we got to fix that. And what better news roundup to do it for than this specifically. But before we jump into the news and get into the meat and potatoes of it all, a brief word from our sponsors over at Sunday's Bloody Mary. You guys know the drill. Sunday's Bloody Mary has the most badass Bloody Mary accoutrement in the multiverse with their 3-time award-winning spicy mix as well as their mild and traditional mixes if the spice ain't for you. This former bartender trusts only one Bloody Mary mix, and that is Sunday's. The only mix better than a from-scratch Bloody. If you want to shake up your Bloody Mary game for the rest of your life, use the link in the description down below and use the code TNAP, TNAP, to get 10% off your order and help out your favorite nerds while you do it. Without further ado, a story that I find myself very excited by, that I have come to learn is not a ubiquitous opinion on the internet at the moment. We've heard rumblings that there was something to do with some D&D TV. We know Sean Levy's heading up a Dungeons and Dragons project over at Netflix, which is going to be, now that I think about it, kind of funny. There's going to be a D&D thing going on over at Netflix with Sean Levy, and there were rumblings that there was a Baldur's Gate something in the works at HBO. We now have confirmation of that with an exclusive from Deadline. That a Baldur's Gate TV series is coming to HBO Max with the creator and head writer of The Last of Us TV series, Craig Mazin, kind of leading the charge. The show is going to be set, as they've said, in the immediate aftermath of the events of Baldur's Gate 3, a game that that has come up a lot on this channel, but we've never actually done a full episode about, so it's probably end up being a lot of Baldur's Gate talk here as well. But it's going to take place in the immediate aftermath of the events, and a lot of the buzz already, they're throwing around the idea that characters new and old will cross paths, so I would not be surprised if we see some of our companions from the events of Baldur's Gate show up. But like we said, this is being headed up by the showrunner for The Last of Us, Greg Mason, and this is where I'm going to throw to Brooke. Explain to Taylor and I, if you will, what's been going on with the Last of Us TV show, because last I checked, people loved it, and then turns out a lot of people had mixed opinions about season 2. I was kind of unsurprised by that because as somebody who's not played the game but like pays attention to the nerd space, I know A lot of people dislike Last of Us Season 2 for a myriad of reasons, a lot of them very The Last Jedi ruined Star Wars coded, and give us the rundown, please.
Yeah, okay. Well, this I feel particularly qualified to talk about this as someone who loves, can't tell, this whole side of my room is The Last of Us, including
Full screen,
my
Full
arm.
screen, yeah.
I've got all my collectibles. I have my Last of Us skateboard that is just for decoration. I've never skateboarded in my life. It was a birthday present, but it's cool, so it's on my wall. My tattoo, my Ellie tattoo. I love the game, clearly. And I also love Baldur's Gate. I have probably 900 plus hours into this game. So two of my very dearly beloved video games. Okay, here's the thing with the show. The first season was like, I sobbed at how beautiful of an adaptation it was. Looking back now that season 2 has come out, there are things that they changed that I was like, that doesn't really make sense. I don't know why they did that. And now with the context of season 2, it's clear that a lot of the things that were changed were just like, I just felt like it. So if you are unfamiliar, listeners, anyone, with The Last of Us video games, the first game is like widely beloved and considered one of the best like narrative video game stories of all time. It's very beloved. It came out in 2013, and then we had to wait, I think, 7 years for The Last of Us Part 2. So there were very high expectations for the game.
That first game really came out in 2013. Seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 2013, and then the remaster on the PS4 in 2014. So I think like the game came out and it was really successful, but then they did the remaster because it was like at the very tail end of the PS3, and so they remastered it for the PS4, and it like really exploded. So there was a lot of expectation built up to this second game, and it is, I consider it, if we ever get a Last of Us Part 3, I would consider it like the Last Jedi of The Last of Us, where it is very, very good, but very, very divisive, and a lot of people hated it when it came out because of XYZ, mostly because the thing that whatever happened, they didn't like that happened. They didn't like that they had to play as a girl. They didn't like that the girl liked girls and not them. Like, so many different reasons why the incels, the grifters hated it.
Not to interrupt you, also just for the sake of like full-fledged context, I know Taylor has no plans on ever playing this game and probably will not watch the show.
That's
so
scary as fuck.
Feel free to speak plainly. I basically know everything that happens in the last.
I know what happens. I have Twitter.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, for anyone listening and you don't want to hear any spoilers, I will give a spoiler warning. Within the first hour of the game, the main character from the first game is killed off.
Yeah.
So in the first game, you play as Joel, and Joel is has to take this 14-year-old girl Ellie across the country because she is the only person that they found that is immune to this disease that is like ridden the world. It's like a apocalypse, whatever.
Special blood.
And then part 2 starts. It's a time jump, like a 3 or 4 year time jump, and you start playing the game as Ellie, the girl who's older now. And yeah, within the first hour, they kill Joel off, and then you also have to play as Joel's killer. Like, the other protagonist of the game is Abby, who is the one who killed him. And so I think just from like the very start, and there were also things like when the game, when the trailers came out, so many people had predicted his death that they ended up doing like a fucking Avengers Infinity War trailer where they switched out one of the characters with Joel for something that happens later in the game to like screw with people, which I think is dumb. And I think that Naughty Dog has even said like, we probably shouldn't have done that, but like we were kind of scrambling at this point because of the rumors and then the leaks, like the whole plot of the game leaked right
I was
before
say,
it
if
came out.
memory serves,
Yeah.
there was a massive leak.
There was
as well.
a massive leak. It was like the middle of COVID. Like it was just a shitstorm. So I mean, it has so many accolades. It's one of the best-selling games of all time. Like there is no reason. Like it was a success in all, but like the reception of fans, because I would say
Yeah.
critical reception is great, but there were just a lot of people that didn't like it, and a lot of grifters that didn't like
A lot
it.
of men who didn't like it.
A lot of men who didn't like it. Now, I will say, coming from a Star Wars fan, the grifters are constantly on talking about Star Wars because they know they can make money hating on Star Wars. The good thing about The Last of Us is that up until the show came out, there were only these 2 games. So a lot of the people who played the game and hated it or threw the game away and talked about how much they hated it, like kind of stopped talking about it. Unless you like you talked about it and then all your comments are like, well, this game sucks, blah blah. But it's just not as intense as the Star Wars hater world. And I was like, I came from the Star Wars world. I don't give a fuck what you have to say about my favorite video game. Like I've been shot 8,000 times.
It takes a lot to
can't kill me.
make someone who likes the sequels squirm.
Yes,
Discourse
exactly.
at this point.
Exactly. But yeah, so a little history about the games. And then when they announced the show, a lot of people were very hesitant, rightfully so, because I can't name any like objectively excellent video game adaptations. Really, like there are a few here and there, and then there are some that are like cult classics that people really like, but I can't think of one up until like when Fallout came out around the same time. Like I think 2024. Like I would put Fallout now above The Last of Us because of season 2. And I will be nice because I've done my I've been in my hater phase about season 2. I'll talk about it as respectfully as I can. I don't want to sound like a dude bro, but I will say season 1 came out and it was excellent. I think they worked really closely. The showrunner, Craig Mazin, who is now apparently leading this Baldur's Gate thing, and the head of Naughty Dog, who was also the narrative director of both Last of Us games, Neil Druckmann, was also like a co-showrunner. And it was pristine, other than the stupid haters that didn't like Bella Ramsey's casting because they don't look enough like Ellie or they're not fuckable enough even though they're a 14-year-old lesbian.
Yeah
Whatever. There was that discourse
stuff,
but it's always going to exist. But almost objectively it was like a very good season of television.
It's not being fuckable. Yeah.
And it was a very faithful adaptation of the game. And that's where I'm so confused, and I want the NDAs expire. I want to tell all from Neil Druckmann about what happened, because season 2, Neil Druckmann had to take like a little bit of a step back. So, and he had said like in interviews, he was not on set and he was not as present as he was making season 2 as he was making season 1, because he also is the president of a video game company and is like the narrative director of a new game that they're working hard on. He directed, I think, one of the episodes of season 2, which I think was one of the best episodes of season 2 because he also co-wrote it. Whereas Craig Mazin wrote, I think, all of season 1 by himself and then almost every episode of season 2 by himself without any other like main writer credits. I'm sure that there were other writers or a writer's room, whatever, but he's like the one that gets the primary credit.
The flowers. He's the one who gets to go on stage.
Yeah. So I think that my main issue with season 2 is, well, other than it being short, it was only 7 episodes, and it's a beefy game, and they covered about half of the game in season 2, which you could have easily stretched, I would say 10 episodes at least.
Show models being like under 15 episodes is already bananas. So
yeah,
we need to have at least like 15 to 20 episode seasons again. Bring it back.
If I can ask this question of you, Brooke, do you think how do I put this? Do you think that again, like obviously like the streaming structure is out of its goddamn mind at this point and
Mm-hmm.
is just baffling, but and they have to exist in those parameters. Do you think that split was made because the money is on There Is No Last of Us Part 3 game, at least in the meantime, that they were just going to because when does Joel die in the show? Like in
Like,
the
wait,
season,
did they
like
just not
about
want to
what
Game
point?
of Thrones it
It's
where they don't
season
have
2, episode 2.
So okay,
Season
so
2,
he does
episode
die
2.
pretty early on.
Mhm.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I had always assumed that like the end of season 2 would be golf clubs
They they
and like,
they followed pretty much. So the structure of the game is there is the introduction segment where you're mostly playing as Ellie, but you do play as Abby for a little bit, and you know nothing about this character. You're playing as this new character. You know nothing about her other than her name. Um, and then after all of that goes down, Ellie goes to find Joel's killers, and you play her you go to Seattle and you play. There's Seattle Day 1, Seattle Day 2, and Seattle Day 3, and you play them back to back to back as Ellie. And then the game comes to what would be like a climax part of the plot, and
okay.
right before you get to like this big fight that is about to occur, it stops and it goes back, and you rewind the clock, and now you're playing as Abby, and you play as Abby on those same 3 days of Seattle and her side of the story. And so it is a little bit of like a pacing shift, because it's like you get to this really exciting part and it's like, just kidding, we're gonna roll it back. But and so the show
Right.
basically followed that same structure, which I commend them for sticking to it, because it's not conducive for television, like,
Yeah. That's a
because
brave choice.
now
That's a
it's a
brave
brave
choice for
choice and I
TV.
can respect that. I think it works for the game. I wasn't sure how it was going to work for the show. I don't know if it's the best choice for the show, but I still respect that they're like, now we're going to be faithful to at least how the game is structured. And so now season 3, which is allegedly also going to be the last season now, even though they were talking about
Yeah.
pushing it to 4, is going to be all of Abby's season. So we're going to be seeing significantly less of Ellie, and okay. It's going to be interesting. We don't need to get into like season 3 stuff, but that's kind of how the show is structured, as well as the game. And so the show season 2 follows Ellie's days in Seattle and ends pretty much at the same ending point that you do in the game when you switch characters over to Abby. And there is so much packed into Ellie's story, and I don't know what happened. I think my main issue is like they've taken away all of the nuance and just like throw up all of the exposition and everything to you verbally, instead of giving nuance to these characters. Like, instead of, Ellie makes these incredibly difficult choices that the player, you might not agree with her doing, like killing innocent people or who could be considered innocent. And instead of her, and this is what's crazy to me, is I feel like you think of a live action something, the actor would be able to better convey that nuance in their performance
I know
than in a
exactly what you
video
mean.
game
Yeah.
without words. And it's like the complete opposite. And I give no criticism to the actors of the show. I think the writing they were given was not the best, and the direction they were given was also not the best, because the game, like, it's so beautiful the way that the story is told, and the way that you can see like the pain in the characters' eyes, and like the effect, the toll that it's having, like taking on their choices. And instead of showing that in the show, it's just like,
they just talk at it.
Well, let me word vomit. Like, well, what if she didn't, this girl I killed, what if she actually didn't deserve it? Like, there's kind of stuff like that.
Instead of just being like a silent, like, moment where you're looking at the character experiencing this moment and feeling it through their face, through their emotions.
Exactly.
I think there's
go ahead.
Yeah, there's such a huge like systemic, like, I think that's there's a greater issue at play there though.
Yes.
For other shows, especially like that have come out recently that have been a
Mhm.
hot topic of debate. Stranger Things and
Mhm.
Eleven's looks maxing.
Yeah, it's
You know,
the second
These are words I
screen.
never should have taught you.
well, it's the fact that like character, it feels like that we don't get to look at, like we don't get to see the actor doing the thing anymore. We have to just be told what is going on.
Because because the
Because there's either
executives
an
are like,
inability to emote or there's an inability to allow it. Like
yeah. And
either there's a
it's
physical barrier or there's a written barrier where the writers are just like, no, just tell him how you feel.
yeah. And so I think that is, I guess, overall my main issue with the show, because the nuance in the game that is why I love it so much, because you can interpret it in so many different ways, but it all like kind of comes to the same like thing. Like you can interpret someone's choices in a different way, but like you still get the same story. And it's just they just
Right.
kind of like throw it all up at you in the show. If we're
They want to
going
give
to
you like a
like
step by step, like this is how you're supposed to feel.
yeah, and I don't like totally blame, my cat just jumped up on my monitor. I don't totally blame Craig Mazin for those types of writing choices as far as that, because I know like with articles that come out where like Netflix executives are telling writers like you need to write like someone is on their phone and watching at the same time so that they
Yeah.
can like make sure that they know what's going on, because they're going to be scrolling on their phone at the same time. Like that
Yeah.
part of it,
which is a beautiful thing that I'm glad Matt Damon and somehow Ben Affleck gave to us, being confirmed.
yeah, and they were like,
Somehow
yeah,
those two guys
mhm.
really pulled it through.
I think the thing as a game fan, the thing that bothers me the most is that if you're a showrunner and you have the creator there with you, and I can
Mhm.
understand, like this is the closest I've coming to understand the like Disney Star Wars haters. Like watching season 2 of The Last of Us, I was like, is this how people felt watching, like, is this how Luke Skywalker fanboys felt watching The Last Jedi? Like, do I understand them now?
do I get it?
But it's you can adapt something and change it and it can be great.
Yeah.
But the thing
The
with The
Boys
Last of Us,
I think is perfect example of
yeah.
that show is such a wild departure from its source material
Mhm.
in tone, in characterization, in plot, and it's become kind of the common consensus that like the show is infinitely better than the
Mhm.
comic. And I've never
Mhm.
touched the comic because I heard it was odious. Travis had to talk me into covering the show. Like
That's how I feel
Travis
about The Walking Dead, because I found out that Daryl is like a show character only and not in the comics, and I was like, well, why don't I fucking
Oh
bother with those?
no.
Right.
Yeah, damn. They really knocked it out of the park in that one.
No.
I'm
But
gagged right now. What?
yeah, he was
That's so funny.
created.
I didn't
Actually,
know that.
Daryl Dixon was created for Norman Reedus. This is
That
totally a side tangent, because
I
Norman
love
Reedus
that actually.
auditioned for the role of Merle, and they loved him so much they were like, well,
Jared's
you're not
favorite
right
guy.
for Merle, but what if we gave Merle a brother? And then
Oh,
thus Daryl Dixon was born. Little fun fact for you. I love my zombie media.
Yes.
I love Norman Reedus. I love that because I love he is in Hell of a Boss for one episode. He is Stryker, the
Oh my
cowboy
gosh.
demon villain, and he's like a rattlesnake evil guy, and he's just the worst.
Think
I
Cad
love
Bane
that.
if he were a rattlesnake. It's really
Yeah,
just
like a
Cat.
sexy
Amazing.
rattlesnake.
It's aggressively Cad Bane coded. I don't remember if Taylor, we were doing our Clone Wars rewatch, if you had met Cad yet when we got to the Striker stuff. But like, granted, you've seen Book of Boba Fett, so you had like a brief
Yeah.
exposure to Cad Bane. But I was like, this is just TCW Cad Bane. Like, I'm
I'm
just
like,
waiting
no, this is just
for the
a
right prize.
yeah.
Dun,
He's
dun,
just
dun,
a
dun.
sexy evil snake cowboy man.
That's amazing. I love
Cad Bane,
that.
one of the few villains Taylor's actually not thirsted over. Now that I think
No,
about
I
it.
don't like that guy. He's ugly.
Debatable,
No,
but
I don't like
no
the
love for the
blue.
understand.
Duros.
Sorry, I don't like the
Taylor.
blue. I'm not into the blue guys. I really am
That's
not.
fair. That's okay. But yeah, that's
So
fair.
Same thing with Thrawn. Like I've never been into
Mm.
Thrawn. Like
Yeah.
not even crossed my mind.
which is so funny to me because I part of me thought the voice would win you over,
No,
but
didn't work. He's too blue.
Hot-
I would not like the Blue Man Group in real life. Okay.
That's
a
just what
show
Taylor
I
calls
will
the Chiss
pass on.
ascendancy.
The Blue Man Group.
Hot take before we get back into the Baldur's Gate Last of Us conversation.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
prefer
forgot
Mark
about
Thompson over Lars Mikkelsen. I think that I prefer Mark Thompson's Thrawn, even though I don't like. This is my other hot take about Thrawn. I don't like book Thrawn as much as I like TV Thrawn. I think book Thrawn falls into a trope I just call magical thinking, where he just intuits things in a ridiculous way. And a lot of that is a Legends problem. Like canon Thrawn, I think is better than Legends Thrawn. I've never gotten over a couple years ago when I finally read the OG Thrawn trilogy, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and Last Command, where at the very beginning of Dark Force Rising, there's a scene where Mara Jade and Talon Card are on Talon Card's ship called the Wild Card, and they're on the other end of the planet Merkur. And Thrawn and the Chimera and a bunch of the remnant fleet are above Merkur looking for them. And we cut back to Mara Jade and Talon Card, who in the books is either French or German or British or like has like a Benoit Blanc accent, and it's so fucking funny. Because almost all of them are narrated by Mark Thompson, and it's like,
well,
at what
now
point
it's Daniel Craig, so
yeah. Now in my mind, Talon Card, Daniel Craig is actually inspired casting that you have no idea how well you just hit it out of the park. But Talon Card's basically like, we are broadcasting a signal to the other side of America, and they will have no idea that we're over on this side, and we're going to make them jump the light speed after the Chimera leaves. And Mara Jade's like, are you sure? Because Thrawn might figure it out. And Talon Card's like, he could never. I'm so smart. I'm Talon Card. And then it cuts over to the Chimera with Thrawn and Gilead Pelion.
I hate this guy.
And Pelion is like, sir, we're detecting no signs of the wild cards on the planet Merkur. And Thrawn just goes, they're on the other side of the planet. How do you know, sir? I'm blue, motherfucker. And like that's basically the conversation. And then they deploy a shit ton of TIE fighters, and the wild card's like, oh shit, and they like fishtail it out of the Merkur system. It's like I don't like Legends Thrawn as much as I like Camp Thrawn. Anyway, Brooke, so with the news of the Baldur's Gate show, are you
pro blue or are you?
I like Thrawn situationally.
Depends on the fanfic.
It depends on the day. It depends on the shade.
How do you feel about tieflings being blue now?
But anyway, I know a lot of people have kind of like already thrown up red flags, and people are already ringing alarm bells over this.
Yeah,
and
naturally, because everybody's gameplay experience is so individualized for the specific game, and that is the reason it's so beloved.
And I think that's a huge thing. I think that I think we're going to witness with Baldur's Gate why the people who say just make KOTOR a movie or a show are going to be proven wrong. Because the reason people love this, as Taylor just said, is it is so personal and it is so specific. And I think a lot of people are raising alarm bells because they didn't like a season of television and they want to blame it on one guy, which is like what we do as people. We want one person to blame the thing we didn't like on.
We as people love a witch hunt.
How are you feeling about the announcement? And then like Taylor and I will actually be able to weigh in on the Baldur's Gate of it all. Because I am excited for this. I think this is really exciting news.
Well, I have mixed feelings. I think because I generally am like very easy to please. There were lots of things in The Last of Us season 2 that I still was very like giddy about, because I was like, oh my god, it's just like the game, or oh my gosh, this little thing in the background is like an Easter egg. Like there were a lot of things about it that I liked. There were just some narrative choices that did not make sense to me, like changing where characters were at very important parts of the story for seemingly no reason, changing like the kind of like core of the character's motivation and like the relationship between like two characters, like completely changing or not even addressing in the same way that the game was. And I think like what I was gonna say is, I think when you have God. You have Neil Druckmann. I don't want to say he's my God, but like you have God of The Last of Us, the creator. Right there, you can ask him, what is this character's motivation? What were you aiming for here? And in a writer's room, I think that's fine to talk about. Like Neil, I've watched interviews where people ask him, like, well, what do you think about this? Or like, what was your intention here? And he's like, well, I think you can interpret it however you want. Because he doesn't want like the fan experience to take away from like his initial intent. But I think that when you're adapting something and you have that source, why not use it in a game that is already so cinematic that like there's not a lot you'd have to do to make it what it is, because it's already a beautiful story with great writing, characters, etc.
It's also a fully fleshed out, like solid story where
and
there's
it's a
not
fully
multiple versions of the exact same,
So-
like it's almost infinite version.
And I think that's why I'm like, now that I'm just thinking about it as I'm like talking, I'm not as nervous about him show running a show like Baldur's Gate in the same way that I am The Last of Us, because that is like there's a point A and a point B. And if you fuck it up, I don't know why, because you had it like you have
You
the source
have it-
material and you
you
have
have
the
it written
creator right in
out.
front of you. When it comes to Baldur's Gate, I think he probably, I mean, I don't know if you've watched Chernobyl, which is also his other show that he's done that was like great. It got a lot of accolades. The writing was wonderful, but I think it was more fit towards like his style of writing, where it is like two people talking in a room. And that's kind of where he shines as a writer the best, is like two characters just like sitting and talking to each other.
Mhm.
And The Last of Us is not that. It's a lot of like unspoken stuff. But with something like Baldur's Gate, where there are so many combinations, 40,000 different endings possible or whatever from the game. And he's not like, they're not adapting Baldur's Gate 3. It is going to be like in the canon of the events of Baldur's Gate 3. But it'll come after. I think what will be interesting to see is the choices that they decide for the characters that we see.
And I think that is where it's I think that's where the red flags come from.
I think where that is a lot of people, because you know, you get very attached to these characters. You spend like I have what 800-900 hours put into this. I've played so many different variations of the game, but I also am one of those people who are like, I can't be mean to anybody even in a game. So like a lot of my characters, I do the same choices for them. Like I've never ascended Astarion because it doesn't feel right to me. I've never made Gale a god because it didn't feel right to me, even though like those are interesting choices that you can make. And I'm sure a lot of people, like, to other people, like that's their truth of their character.
Yeah.
And like everyone has that truth.
Yep.
So making a definitive choice, and this is, it came up with Fallout as well. Because Fallout is also an RPG where your choices can affect the world around you, and season 2 of Fallout really adapted and focused a lot on the stuff of the events of New Vegas, and there are multiple different endings of New Vegas, and with like the introduction of certain characters, people were very concerned that their truth, the ending that they wanted, isn't going to be the canon one, which I think now that season 2 has come out, I think they've done a good job at still leaving it like open-ended enough that it's not going to like totally piss everybody off. So I just don't know. I don't see.
I think that's just a critical issue of adaptations of any.
You can't make everyone happy.
You're never going to be able to.
And I think with something like this, you're not going to be able to, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated with what's going on with the Baldur's Gate show discussion already, because on one hand, everything you said, and I think while the story of Baldur's Gate, I have done 3 full playthroughs, and I'm about like a third into my 4th. And granted, my 4th doesn't really count because I downloaded all the Star Wars mods and am playing.
They're so good though. I love them.
I need to download so many difficulty increase mods.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, during my first
you were literally, it makes you a god. You could be a level 2 character and be a god. You never have to level up.
I'm convinced I could just blitz down the fucking Elder Brain with my party of Jedi Knights.
Yeah, for sure.
But I understand why people want to see this brought to life and put into live action. I totally empathize with that. I am somebody who has always said it's not that animation is a lesser form of media. There's just something that's really striking about seeing something come to life. The story of Baldur's Gate is really ungainly to adapt. And because, there are so many characters who are incredibly rich only if you spend as a player adequate time with them. And I think that's a double-edged sword that's at play here. That you might if you go to adapt this show, somebody is going to get a very, very, very short stick because there is only so much stick to write with.
Yeah,
and I think that it would, and I don't think there's a single companion character that people would feel that people would go, well, it had to be somebody.
Yeah, Jared would. Jared does have one that he knows that he would be happy isn't in the show.
Oh yeah, fuck Halson all day long.
Jared hates that guy.
He's the CEO of Performative Men. I don't like Halson.
I'm sorry, guys. This has been really fun, but I have to go. What do you mean? I should have worn. Okay. So today I wore my I love Timothy Chalamet shirt. It says I love Timothy Chalamet, but it's Pedro. I almost wore my I have that Y2K Halson shirt. I almost wore that. I should have.
I love it.
And I want to allow me to make clear because Taylor has turned my opinion into I hate Halson and now I play along. I think House. I have the take on Halson that a lot of people have, that it's crazy we have two druids.
Yes,
and that he doesn't have a lot to do in the story, and
he's just happy to be there.
He's just happy to be there.
There are moments that we can't fuck Jahira, but we can fuck him.
Yeah, real.
I'm indifferent on that.
You're
let me fuck Mima.
Yeah, I
want you fuck Mima.
I'm ready to lay her out, baby. I'll show her a good time. I'll make sure her husband knows that she's being taken care of.
But it's just one of those I would think it would have been really cool if by the end of the game you have, depending on your playthrough, almost every single class available to you within your party.
Yeah.
If you're doing a quote unquote canon Dark Urge, that's your sorcerer. It's crazy that that really cool bard who was maybe a werewolf was not in the fucking game. To me, it's one of those there were other classes that could have made it in and they didn't. And the fact that we double dip on Druid is kind of bananas to me. Whatever.
Yeah.
I have also made fun of the fact that while Taylor was trying to gaslight a couple party members into being a throuple,
I actually did successfully. I was my first playthrough that I ended up spending almost 250 hours on, because I explored the entire map, and if the entire map is not filled out, then I will not continue on. I will check every single wooden barrel, and I will check every single bush. You could not watch me play if you value your time.
But I
successfully thrupled with Karlach and Halson.
Damn, nice.
I had no mods. I don't know what happened. I don't know how I did it. But we were in a very we just didn't talk about it, and I just kept kissing them both.
Amazing.
But
it was great. It was honestly the greatest thing in the world. I literally had the best of both worlds.
Just
the limo out front. Sorry.
I'm going to say this as the person who in most settings is the friend who's too woke. Halson is too woke for me. And he annoyed the shit out of me. Granted, I like ducks. Is maybe one of my favorite lines of dialogue in the entire game.
Have you seen him do the shepherd shuffle at the party at the end? He does a little jig, and it's just like the shepherd shuffle.
No,
it's amazing.
But I want to.
Halson, if you get to the final, after the final battle, and you do the little epilogue, he gets drunk as fuck.
We saw him staggering across the camp at the end of Taylor's
He staggers, he gets drunk, he will wild shape into a bear and fall asleep. He does a little dance. It's great. That's I think my
obsessed.
favorite part of of Howson is epilogue Howson.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But anyway,
Drunk
all
bear
of that to
man.
say, like, there are going to be characters who get the short end of the stick. There are going to be choices that are made with certain characters that, like, okay, is Minthara an enemy? Does she join the party? Is Minthara a side character? Let's use her as an example. Is she a side character who you find and is
she
redeemed and then,
alive?
like, like weaves through? There's a lot, like, there's so much to manage. You have characters like my personal favorite member of the party, Will Ravengard, like, who by virtue of the game doesn't get as much, which I don't fully agree with. I think in a game full of like dark and broody and tragic characters that you have somebody who's just a straight-laced hero, he feels a little underdeveloped next to all of these people, but like it's what happens when you put Superman in a room full of like Batmans, like to dumb it down a little bit. So there's so much going on there. You don't quite have the runway with streaming to guarantee you'll have a show go on for a while. So I like
and
the
you also
decision
don't
to set
have
it
that many episodes to fill out. Like,
right.
it'd be
How
different
do
if we
you?
were looking at the traditional television model of 22 episode seasons of and 45 minutes each. Like, we would
How
have
do you?
so we would have all the time in the world to develop every single character who we love and remember.
How do you pace out the acts? Like, like there's so many things that are like instantly iconic about this game that like I don't blame them for going, let's go after it and tell the parts that we want to tell. Now you do bring in the issues of canonicity. I am very fascinated to see where they land on a handful of things. I don't want to
I think
be
there's
like,
namely two characters who I think are the biggest questions for me personally.
who would they be for you?
For me, it'd be Shadowheart, and it'd actually be Astarion.
Yeah.
Whoever they cast as Astarion, if
It's not Neil Newborn, like listen,
no one is going to be happy if it's not Neil Newbon. But I also don't even know, like, and Neil Newbon in his career has done like television and like live action stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that him as an actor can't do it, but there's something, and we've seen it in Star Wars where you make, the animated voice actor the live action character. You have to do it in a way that is not going to look like you're just dressing somebody up in a cosplay.
Yeah.
And I think that especially with like something as like vibrant as like a Faerun, like Baldur's Gate D&D setting, like I'm so intrigued how they're going to do it. It has to be a little bit camp. It has to be a little bit Star Warsy.
To be honest, it has to be really camp. It has to be like, let's be like, I am thinking of the recent Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine.
Yes.
Let's bring a live action Aarakocra back. Like, let's bring let's bring
tonally.
We cannot half-ass this move right now. Like, I do not, like, genuinely, I don't want to see a bunch of CGI tieflings. Okay, I don't want to see.
Agreed.
I want to see people who have that shit on right now. Okay?
And I think it's possible because we've seen, and I will give credit if like Craig Mazin brings over a lot of the same like visual effects people, artists,
and
like set designers, like if he brings the same people that he did, I don't know if they're the same from Chernobyl, but like a lot of showrunners and directors will work with a lot of the same people, especially if it's like the same network, they'll work with a lot of the same people. Like the set design of The Last of Us is impeccable. Like I can't say anything bad about, honestly. They nailed the tone and like the vibe of the show, making the infected practical, like it's all actors, like and like people with dancer backgrounds that like know how to do those like movements, and like that I have no doubt that they could do that with a Baldur's Gate adaptation. So I'm like, and I've seen with Fallout, like so much of that stuff in Fallout is practical, including like some of the big monsters are like animatronics or like puppets. And like the D&D movie, like Jarnathan was a fucking puppet. It was a puppet, and that just like blows my mind. And it's got to be a little bit camp, I think, if they're gonna do it at all in a live action sense. But it also has to like Like, I'm just trying to imagine them dressing Neil Newbon up as a Astarion and having a hard time picturing it without it seeming silly.
Yeah.
Well, there's no way they can because he has unfortunately also fundamentally like aged out of the role.
Yeah.
It just that is the other thing with these characters is that like their voice actors will not be successful like
I mean,
one-to-one.
Sam Bayard, who is Karlak, they're
Is so
like
little.
5 foot nothing.
Yeah, so little, so little.
They're so little. I love them, but they're like
Katie O'Brien. Katie O'Brien, Karlak, give it to me,
okay.
please.
See,
Yeah,
this is one that I'm like, I can't rock with just
Inspired.
because I don't unless I can hear Katie O'Brien nail the voice, because I think the thing with the Baldur's Gate characters is like they all
they're
have
so iconic.
such a distinct voice, not even just like their physical voice, but just their way of being. And like I think it is a test to the voice actors spent 4 to 5 years working on this game and recording lines and doing the mannerisms of these characters. Like that you're just not going to have that same amount of time to like prep and do that for a show. And it's just anyway, if Katie O'Brien can do the voice and like nail like the mannerisms, I'm all for it. Otherwise, I have a hard time seeing it other than like physically.
No, sure. And that's fair. I think Karlak is going to be one of the harder ones to cast. I think
not for me.
Honestly, I think Gale is going to be another difficult one, just because.
Do you mean our cat's favorite character?
Yeah, our cat Richard. Every time Gale is on screen, he is spellbound. Pun intended.
That's so
quite literally. I was actually talking about this at work. I was like, my cat he likes to watch TV sometimes. From time to time, he'll indulge in an episode or two. He hears Gail Decarios. It's over. It's over. His boyfriend's on TV.
But I do like that it's taking place after. I think it's a good opportunity that we can find out.
Don't let Richard know about Tara.
We can find out canonicity, and we can also tell our own story. I think the aftermath of what happens during the Absolute Crisis is really compelling. I think that's a really interesting, like the city of Baldur's Gate. Like, yes, it's being rebuilt, and yes, like we won the day, but that city is falling.
Yeah.
Like there is just too much of a mass casualty event, too much destruction and mayhem.
No, but the brain went in the water.
Yeah, the brain went in the water, but it also like dropped entire buildings and like and like elithized like so many people.
No.
I think that
have arms.
I also think that there's a lot of really interesting runway to deal with the kind of lingering dramatic irony that we the fans, we the people who've played the game, know that the hero of Baldur's, that the founder of Baldur's Gate himself was an illithid. And if they and if they go the route, if they go the route where Orpheus's sacrifice is canon, then like that could be its own story to be told. Is like, no, Baldurin was a piece of shit. And when he became an illithid, he switched sides because it was no longer beneficial for him. And like while the city is rebuilding,
city of Orpheus,
but while they're trying to like rebuild, having to grapple with the namesake of this city turned on us. Like I think that's a really interesting story to tell, and like because the game is so much
right the whole time.
#Ansur was right.
Put it in the streets, dude. I'm gonna graffiti the fuck out of Baldur's Gate here in a minute.
But I think
as soon as I get to that outer city wall, Ansur was right.
But when you have a game and a story that is so much about identity and agency, for the story that takes us immediately after that to then blow that up to like a citywide scale, I think that's a really great opportunity. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's an angle they take. Stuff like the existence of the Dark Urge. I am very excited to see how it pans out. And I think that it's interesting.
If we got a live action Dark Urge, do you think it would be the White Dragonborn?
I don't think that I don't think the Dark Urge will be a main character. So yes, if the Dark Urge were a main character,
as fuck.
I think they would find a way to work around him having to be a Dragonborn. But no, I am very excited for this. These are one of those instances where it's like I have no reason to be distrustful of this. I do find myself a little frustrated with like the preliminary. We have to hate it because so many people are like, oh well, Larian isn't involved, so it's going to be bad. It's like, first of all, everybody was ready to burn Larian at the stake over the last few months because Larian's CEO was like, we're going to use so much AI in the new Divinity game. And everybody turned on him for that. And now it's like, oh, but our precious baby's Larian. Our precious baby's Larian. It's like, you mean the studio that said, we're done now? That said they didn't want to work with Wizards of the Coast anymore? For good or ill? Like, why are you demanding that creatives who said they've done their fill get back in the game? Because their hearts won't be in it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's just a preliminary, like, we didn't like The Last of Us Season 2. Let's pin it on Druckmann wasn't in the driver's seat. Therefore, if Larian is not, like, walking hand in hand, it's going to inherently be bad. And
I will say, though, with that, I want to know, so I don't know how, like, into the last, like, the news with that happened, but like after season 2 came out of Last of Us, Neil Druckmann basically like made a statement that he was pulling out of working on the show, and he said it was because they're like ramping up work on Intergalactic, their like new big game that Naughty Dog is coming out. But then Hallie Gross, who was the co-writer of the game and then was brought in as a writer for season 2, like made a very similar statement. And Hallie Gross is not an employee of Naughty Dog. Like she is a it's like writer of TV and video games and things. So that with the two of, and those came out, I think either one day after the other on the same day. I just want to know, like, I can't help but think that there was some like George R. Martin hates Ryan Condal level of
I was just thinking that I was like, House of the Dragon, George R. Martin.
I have to I just have to think that something happened there that they'll never talk about publicly, even though George R. Martin just came out and was like, yeah, fuck Ryan Condal, basically.
Which I think is so funny.
I think he's at this point, honestly, let this old man just do whatever he wants, please.
Yeah.
Please let Grandpa do whatever he wants, okay? He wants to just sit and write his little Knight's Tale. Just let Grandpa do his Knight's Tale, okay, guys? Stop criticizing him. Okay, stop criticizing Grandpa. He can't handle it.
No, I do agree that I do think it's interesting. I also think on some level, like, I think that nerds have a tendency to be demanding, but also like they put the source material on a pedestal.
Sorry.
And there's a default opinion, I think, for a lot of people that if the person who made it doesn't like it, therefore it is unworthy. You know, and
okay, but also justice for Grandpa. He was right.
Yeah, justice for George R. R. Martin, sure. And like, it seems like he has personal beef with Condal. It seems like he and Condal do not get along as people.
Like as a general, the ending, because I think that's really kind of screwed him over as far as writing his own books.
Sure, but like I
so
think
many
that,
obstacles, even if they are imaginary.
And this isn't to say that like I'm going like, oh, I think Druckmann's in the wrong. I don't know shit about this. But like I also think that there's an impulse to look at this and go, oh, this means there's a profound problem and Druckmann hates this guy. And it's like, no, maybe Neil Druckmann went, I care too much about The Last of Us because this is my baby and I need to understand that like somebody else is like raising a similar version of my child. You know, like it's like I had twins and I gave one up for adoption. You know, and they're being raised in a similar way, but not an identical way. And maybe
but
I
not
need to take a step
exactly
back
how I would do it,
and focus on something that would be more creatively fulfilling for him, like the Intergalactic game.
I think that's probably what it is. I don't think there's like some huge beef. I think that there is probably a lot about season 2 that he didn't agree with. Just even listening to the podcast, they do like a post-episode podcast. Just the way that he would like talk about like, oh, well, you know, we would disagree about XYZ, but like, you know, Craig Mazin is already in the industry. He has a relationship with HBO. Like he's like the head honcho of the show. Neil Druckmann was like, yeah, I'm a co-creator, but like, come on, not really. Like, I have no pull in this.
Mhm.
So I don't think that it's anything like, I would love to know at one point, like what went down, but I can imagine it's just like, hey, this is not like creative differences. Like, I'm gonna bow out now before it actually gets bad, before, you know.
And I think in the age of like the entertainment journalism landscape being what it is, like I say this all the time, we hear about more than we ever used to.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we as the audience and the consumer think we know way more than we actually do.
Yeah.
And I
sure.
think a lot of the times people hear creative differences and think this person fundamentally hates this vision,
Yeah.
and not so much as I really want to zig really fucking hard. And
Yeah.
and like the tone of this is kind of begging to zag.
Mhm.
And I can't zig, so I'm going to respectfully hand the reins to somebody who has a better idea as to how to zag.
Mhm.
And I think that like I think that like people
I think that
so
people have
badly
also
want
normalize the fact that like any time that you are leaving something that is inherently bad, like it is bad, like work, thinking about quitting a job, changing jobs,
right.
transferring fields. The moment that you tell somebody like, oh, I am going, I'm not going to be doing X work, I'm going to be doing Y work instead now. Everybody's like, well, what, why? What happened? What
Mhm.
terrible thing happened to you? And it's like, oh, well, actually, I just kind of felt different now
Yeah. Mhm.
a little bit. And
And
everybody has to assume, like, you assume that it inherently has to be this extremely negative experience when genuinely it could just be like, honestly, the vibes were just right. And, this other position seems better right
yeah,
now.
I mean, I love to tell people, especially in the age of Andor is better than, two movies that came out in the same year went through the exact same production issues. Suicide Squad and Rogue One. The same fucking thing happened to both of those movies.
Yeah.
One is touted as one of the best movies of the 20 teens. The other one is Suicide Squad. And basically the same things happened to them.
Wait, don't you mean your favorite movie?
One of my favorite movies to ever come out. You're absolutely right. I love that piece of shit movie. I love gangbanger SoundCloud rapper Joker, and I will
Oh,
never
it's
pretend
so
that I
bad.
don't.
That's so bad.
Also, Purple Lamborghini by Rick Ross featuring Skrillex, a banger.
Yeah, he actually does make me listen to that whenever we go on road trips.
At least once I need to hear Rick Ross just, oh. Anyway, but like that shit happens. Sometimes it's copacetic. Sometimes it's not. Solo: A Star Wars Story. Lord and Miller were fucking terrorists on the set of that. Speaking of Lord and Miller, more on that in a moment. But like they were goddamn terrorists on that set, and like Lucasfilm was like, "You can't get the job done. We're bringing in Ron Howard." You look at Rogue One, a very similar thing happened. Gareth Edwards couldn't get the job done. Then they brought in Gilroy.
Mm-hmm.
And because Gareth Edwards played ball and helped where he could and wasn't messy in the fucking press over it, Gareth Edwards still got to be credited as the director of Rogue One.
Yeah.
That was Gilroy's movie. And a lot of those like creative
Sometimes
differences.
You do get to just fail up, man.
Yeah. But all of that to say, I am very excited for this. I am just beyond excited to see how this pans out, the choices that they make, not just in casting, but in like having to make a decision on the canonicity of certain things.
I better see white hair Shadowheart and no parents.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because that's the thing, and like I don't think
that's what I want.
I don't want to say that this show should
and
be
she has
painted
the owl
in.
bear.
I don't think this show should necessarily be painted into a corner of this is what a D&D source book that came out in 2025 says. But like the cover of that book has Karlach clearly alive and well in Faerun. That book also takes place after the events of the game. Astarian's there chilling, and it takes place at night. So maybe
he's
cool. That art, he's there at night, so he's probably not ascended. And Shadowheart is there in her beginning of the game outfit, but so is Astarion. Is she wearing that because that's like the most iconic look for Shadowheart, and there isn't really a canon redeemed Saloonite Shadowheart look aside from the white hair? Or is that Wizards of the Coast saying Shadowheart is still a Sharin. Do with that what you will. Like, it's I'm excited to see how a lot of that pans out. And
I'm thinking of Craig Mazin now as like a dungeon master, because I'm thinking
which
about,
he is. Yeah, it says in the article he is a dungeon master. Yeah.
But as far as like as a showrunner of a show, it's a D&D thing. Like it's first and foremost, it's like a Dungeons and Dragons thing. Like I would love like a Dungeons and like the D&D movie-esque story where you're not like the main characters are not your Baldur's Gate companions. You have a different party, but they come across all these different characters. Like in my D&D games, we have decided what is canon to us, and like in my first D&D game, we had decided that like my character was like the canon Tav, because we played Ascent of Avernus, whatever, which is like a direct prequel. Which is a direct prequel to the events of Baldur's Gate 3. So it was like all of this stuff happened.
Like
it just narratively worked out. It just narratively worked out that like my character and then one of my friends' characters would be like the Tavs of Baldur's Gate 3. And then post Baldur's Gate 3, we're playing like we've played like an epilogue type of thing where we come across Astarion, and we like, I think you can do it in a way. I think you could do it in a way where some of the like choices aren't necessarily like if you're writing a show, you could make it kind of not definitive. Like Astarion, you could come across Astarion in a tavern and you would see him. And if you're a fan of the game, you know Astarion, you know who he is, you know he's a vampire, like you know all these things, but you might not know, is he still with Cazador? Is Cazador still alive? Is he ascended? Like you could have moments with those characters, and then not, if they're not the main focus, like the main characters, you could like do it in a way that you don't know their ending. Because
like
there
you
is
can meet Karlach in a bar, like you could straight up like see her and Will palling around.
Yeah. I mean, Karlach is honestly probably one of the easier characters to, if she's alive, she really only has one ending, and that is to go back to Avernus.
She's the easiest one to like be
and
able
so you
to
could kind of do whatever you
weave.
want with her. She could be in Avernus still. If they go there, she could be back from Avernus and have like figured shit out. Like that, I think is actually one of the easier.
Basically says she's on the cusp of figuring it out.
So you could also meet her and Will in Avernus, and
like those are options. Although I could see them making Will like the Duke of the new whatever, because
I don't know. I want him to go with her. I think they should be together.
But that's my preferred ending. But if you're gonna like center the story around like Baldur's Gate, the city, and if you have like some sort of time jump, maybe like Duke Ravengard is no longer in the picture, he's retired, and he gives his job to Will. Like I could see them making that ending kind of more the canon ending for Will, like narratively.
Butch,
you can also very easily split the difference.
Bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. You could very easily split the difference and have it be they went to Avernus, they came back,
they figured everything out with her,
and Will was called upon and was asked to serve the city by taking up his Duke, and was like, okay, I'll do it. And like you said, Karlach can be the bodyguard. You can do all kinds of cool shit with that. But like, there's very, very simple, easy ways to do it. Part of me would almost like it to be something like, God, I'm gonna say this, and so many people are gonna get fucking angry with me with what I'm about to say. There's a part of me that would almost be kind of into this being structured like The Mandalorian, where like season 1 you barely see any pre-existing characters, and then the further in you get, I think you get a little bit. You're like, oh hey, Will and Karlach showed up. Oh hey, here's a star. Oh hey, here's Shadowheart. And
I think, to be honest, the only exclusion I would make would be like Jaheira. Like I would have Jaheira be present just as like a underlying current character who like kind of guides the greater plot.
I honestly, now that I'm like thinking about it, the structure of The Mandalorian, especially season 1, like each episode he's like on a different kind of side quest where he's like going and he meets this character from this planet. Perfect. And then it does come back around. Like he eventually like does go back to space Apollo Creed. What, I can't think his name right now.
Literally, honestly, I was thinking.
My God, Grief Karga. Grief Karga. Like he goes back to Grief Karga. He finds
that's JJ. That's Jaheira.
Dude, what the fuck? I am having a
Cardu.
stroke.
You're
I
fine.
have a Bo-Katan fucking flight suit right behind me, and I can't remember any character name right now of the Mandalorian. But like I could see them doing that where the characters would show up where it makes sense for them to show up. If you're doing like a D&D party and the Baldur's Gate characters are in the background, it's like, oh well, you go to you might go to the House of Hope because the Raphael storyline is completely optional. So, and I would love that. Actually, my if I had to put anyone from the game into the show, I would cast the same dude who plays Raphael as Raphael in the show because I think it's perfect.
I think that would be inspired.
But like, that would be a good thing. Like you would go there and maybe you would meet Raphael, and then that's how you get to Avernus and you find Karlach and Will. Like I think there are ways that you can integrate the characters into the narrative. I would be more concerned if we find out more that like the Baldur's Gate 3 companions are like the main characters.
Because that's exactly
to me, honestly, even no matter what ending you choose, having them all come back together for something doesn't really make sense to me.
No,
because they all kind of
like,
have
really not how D&D works.
Regardless of your choices, their storylines all diverge and they all like have some sort of endpoint where there would have to be something catastrophic that they're all involved in, because there's a reason that they're all part of your party is because they all have some sort of involvement in the main storyline.
Sometimes
like,
it's
makes
normal
sense
for people to go their own ways.
Yeah, I think
that's a natural part of the D&D storyline, but like that's also a natural part of life. Like it's okay to grow apart from people but still be close and connected. So like again, the same way that we get the epilogue party, like it is fine for like you to have gone on a great experience with a group of people who you meet, you become great friends with, and you build bonds with, and then like maybe don't see or talk to for 15 years.
What I think is interesting with you, what you brought up, Brooke, with the Raphael element, and then we'll move on here soon, is that like
honestly, no, again, if he's not doing a little song and dance, I don't want him.
No, I have a whole pitch for you. I have a whole pitch for you. Because the Deadline article does specifically say running into literal devils.
The literal Christian devil.
The literal Christian devil.
The Bible.
From the Bible. I think it would be so cool if like they had it be, we thought we got Raphael. We thought we got him. And he could potentially be your big bad. And that could be a great end of the first season reveal, is like a fiery portal rips open. And at the very moments, all you hear is that organ. Bum, 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 bum,
as long as my baby girl Hope is okay, that's all that matters to me.
Like
that was my queen.
That could be such
all that matters.
Yes. That could be such a great stinger. I think that you would have a great opportunity to do a great, not I don't want to say side quest, but like a kind of B plot where somehow you end up in like the Githyanki revolution against Vlaakith. Like I think that would be a great route to take as like a side conflict. But I think Raphael would be a great antagonist to have. There's lots of ways you can make that work. Lots of things you can do with the concept of the Crown of Karsus. You know, that is again another way to keep Gale in the story, that keeps Karlach and Will in the story. You know, like, and I think that's one of the core things is that like, depending on how much this show is set in the city is going to dictate your access to certain characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if
Gale's
the Crown of Karsus,
Gale fucked off.
Like, but that's the thing. If the Crown of Karsus is involved, there's a reason for Gale to get involved.
Gale's coming back, baby.
Like Gale's coming back and is going, I'm cleaning up this mess once and for all. And maybe there's some temptation involved. You know, he's like,
maybe if he hears that Crown is still intact, baby, he is in the water. He's swimming. Okay.
Actually, to me, he's my husband, and he's a professor at the Flagstaff Academy.
My husband recently.
Hey, I get it. I'm still adventuring with Shadowheart. You know, I understand.
Yeah, second playthrough, he was like, I like you, and I was like, aww. Okay.
And then he was like, yeah, I read about some freaky shit.
And I was like, oh, it's baby, you gotta chill.
It's like, wow, that was really hot. You're covered in brains. That does it for me, baby. And it's like, what is this man?
Oh,
love him. I love my autistic wizard.
I love that little autistic man. I love him.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up one
Now
thing.
I'm trying to figure out how I can get a throuple with Astarion and Shadowheart right now. This playthrough I'm on. This is my third playthrough in a row where I'm doing a cleric. I'm just
Love.
doing different variations of the exact same girl. Um,
All I have done is Paladin and Warlock,
yeah, I'm basic as fuck right
which I
now.
have been told is a very me combination to only ever do.
Yeah, I got
But
surprised all cleric.
listen,
But I only fight. I do not heal. That's Shadowheart's job.
having the mod on that like ups the max level so that you can actually hit level 20
Yeah.
and being able to hit like
And break the game.
7th level divine smites.
Oh, yeah.
If there
So
are
good.
characters in that game that you have personal beef with, like me, really enjoying every second of murdering Auntie Ethel and Raphael, fighting those two fuckers brings me so much joy. Those gigantic level divine smites hit like crack every time. And that is why I'm an Oath of Vengeance Paladin. But very exciting stuff with Baldur's Gate. Moving on to kind of a more minor side story before we bring it home
Do I
with
want to
some of
move
this.
on? Wait, do I want to move? Am I done thirsting over all the characters that I want to thirst over? Who's gonna be Withers? Where's Withers? Big Naturals?
Big Naturals. That's the question. That's the question.
Big Naturals or no? That is
okay,
the
that's
hot guy.
okay. I will say one thing before we move on. I also have I have faith in HBO to add those little moments that only game players would understand. So maybe not actually give Withers Big Naturals, but some sort of nod to the fact that you can mod this game to shit and chain. I think that they could do some sort of nod to
give Will
those different things
in the show. Then.
Yes.
Oh,
to me, that is canon.
Will.
To me, Dread Will is canon and Man Bun Gale is canon.
In what Gale?
Man Bun Gale.
Oh, I have the
Gale, I can't remember what it is, but it's he's
no, I know exactly. I saw it. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. Don't worry. To me, that mod is canon. I never have it off.
See, I can only do Will with dreads. I can't tolerate him without it. And honestly, Jared loves Will. I can't be bothered. I don't. The princely type isn't for me.
I'm just the slut for a swashbuckler.
Immediately, yeah. I'm like, can I fuck all the bitches? When can I fuck the bitches?
I hate her Will loadout so much because it is just so against type for how I imagine Will. I was so happy when they added the Hexblade as an actual subclass.
Yeah.
Because I respec Will every time. Because this is the only class he should be, is a Hexblade Warlock. And every time I watch Taylor play, she goes to Will, and he is wearing the most gaudy outfit with a fucking spear and a shield. And I'm like, why is this man not buckling swash? Why is he not being able to fall into his little fencer form and shit?
His armor class is 25 right now. I can't be fucked with Will. Unfortunately, which is really sad for me because I think he's a really cool guy. I think he's a swell dude. No, I think you would like the loadout I just had for Shadowheart on my second playthrough because I downloaded a color mod and I gave her the Zeus coloration. So it was white and gold for the entire finale. And that bitch looked hard as fuck. She looked fine as fuck.
Love that.
Genevieve just aura farming. But
absolutely, that bitch literally looked like a goddess. I was like, honey, angel, save me, baby. Put some wings on.
But jumping into kind of a side story here, before we talk Spider-Noir, which I'm very excited to talk about, we have not been covering the cavalcade of leaks around Spider-Man Brand New Day because, quite frankly, I think 90% of them are going to prove to be goddamn horse shit. Maybe he's going to turn into Man Spider is the one thing I keep hearing. We'll see.
Wait, more is he going to be a spider?
Yeah, Man Spider, where he just turns into a Spider-Man.
A literal spider?
You know how in DC, Man Bat
is Batman?
Yeah. Man Bat is just a bat monster that was a dude. instead of a dude who is a bat monster.
Is it a big spider or a little spider?
Gigantic. Like
Okay,
8
like
arms.
druid, like Baldur's Gate. I am wild shaped into a spider.
No, like horrifying spider mutant.
Oh well, I hate
Like
that.
horror movie shit. Like
Oh.
he's like 7 feet
I
tall with
hate
mandibles
that.
and a bunch of arms and a bunch of eyes.
No, that's bad.
I don't know if it's true. That's just one of the leaks going around.
That's
but
worse. I'd rather him be a giant spider, like a
But-
literal giant spider.
I love me a merch leak. I think they're always funny. And there is a bag of tie-in Spider-Man talkies and a Spider-Man backpack that is making the rounds. That people are saying, I'm going to throw it on screen, that people are implying because there are no visible web shooters that this might be a hint towards that leaked trailer that showed that Peter might be getting organic webbing.
No,
a concept
that's
I've never
dumb
been
and
super
wrong.
into. Here's the thing. I only like the idea of him getting
specifically
organic
called
webbing.
it out because it was a weird thing. Sam Raimi was like, I don't want to deal with that.
Now, here's my thing with organic webbing. There's a chance we're getting into the weird spider animal totems from the comics, which means there's like a 3% chance one of my favorite Spider-Man villains will show up, because I am one of 4 people on the planet who actually like Morlun from the Spider-Verse comics.
Oh my god.
I have found out I'm one of the only people who like the Inheritors.
I'm gonna have to take fucking ibuprofen before going into this movie.
But I don't think the Inheritors will show up here. But this is actually our first look at some of the villains who will be in the film. So if you look to Spider-Man's right, just above his knee, or on the right of the image, his left knee, but just above his knee, you can see the silhouette of Scorpion.
Oh, that's a scorpion.
Just below his other leg, you can see what I believe is
tail.
Is Boomerang on our left side. No, just Boomerang.
Oh.
Not Jai Courtney. And then above him, you can see the Hulk. So,
which I think we already knew. Question mark about
kind of. It was one of those things, like the trades were reporting it, like Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Vanity Fair. There was reporting that Mark Ruffalo would be back as the Hulk. Yeah. But it was never confirmed by Marvel, and a lot of the language being used was that he was like circling a deal. It was kind of the only thing that kept me from fully 100% buying that trailer that leaked a couple months ago.
Now they're like, surprise, all Hulk.
Was that Banner was in it, because there's a scene where Peter like rushes up to Bruce and is like, Professor Banner, which cool, he's a professor probably teaching at ESU in New York, which I think is sick. But he's like, Professor Banner, I need your help. And Bruce is like, hey man, I can't help you. Also, I don't know who the fuck you are.
Fuck you.
So
register for my class, you poor kid.
getting your GED now that you don't exist.
I want them to treat him like Orpheus from Hades Town. Like, I want everybody to be like, look at that poor boy over there. That poor kid. He has no money.
The only thing he has to his name is his suit he can't show anybody and his Emperor Palpatine minifig. But I just think that's interesting. You know, we'll see what's going on with a lot of this talk about Man Spider and organic webbing. You know, Brooke, your favorite Marvel character is going to be here, and I have no idea how Frank is going to factor into this at all.
I don't even care. You know what? Because Frank Castle's going to be in it.
Yeah, I was about to say, how
are you going to tell us something? Are you going to tell us something, Brooke?
I just love him. Not in that way. I love him in the right way. I love him in like the AO3 kind of way, not in like the police Blue Lives Matter way.
No.
I was like, how do I show my love for the Punisher without people thinking I'm fucking like MAGA? So I bought, it's a Punisher sticker, but it's like the inclusive LGBT flag.
I love Pride Punisher.
Combining.
Yeah, it's Pride Punisher. It's gay Punisher. I put it on my car because I was like, right under I've got like a Black Lives Matter sticker I bought like 6 years ago, and I was like, people got to know that I love Punisher, but not in that way.
Yeah.
My favorite is that picture of him at a photo op. I know both of you know exactly what I'm about to say.
Oh, holding the trans flag?
Holding up the trans flag, but
Yes.
he's pointing at the camera. He's almost like, he's like, let me tell you something. If you don't respect their pronouns, I'll fucking shoot you to death, motherfucker. Like I can hear it. I can hear him. Like, I also want to say something on the topic of the Punisher. I've said this in private before. Everybody likes to talk about the John Bernthal. Let me tell you something. And that is a funny thing
Can't
that he
wait
does
for the Odyssey. Christopher
Let me tell you
Nolan.
something. Like, let me tell you something, Telemachus. But like, it's a funny thing that he does. It is nowhere near as funny as the way that every time he has a violent outburst as the Punisher, he just sounds like a wild animal.
Yes.
Like, it's like, it's not even menacing. It's just distracting. Like, when he goes on his rampage at the end of Daredevil Born Again season 1, and he's just like, I'm like, what? How are you making that fucking noise?
I want to know what those ADR sessions look like.
Right? It's like everybody. It's like the behind the scenes footage of like Hugh Jackman doing like the end of Logan, where he's just like, I'm convinced it is just John Bernthal just white knuckling a microphone. Like, it's not one coming down. He's just holding it and is practically has it in his fucking mouth.
And he's on the treadmill.
Like, it's so guttural, and I can't explain why I think it's so funny. But he just screams in this very scary, distracting way, and I love it. I'm not even a Punisher guy like that. And I'm like, oh, he's about to make some noises. Let's go.
He's about to make a funny sound.
I love Frank Castle. I don't care how he is in this movie. But I wanted the banter I can imagine him with Tom Holland's Peter Parker is so fucking funny to me. And I also just want his motivation to be, because we're gonna get this like Punisher special where he's like breaking out of fucking the
everywhere
fist prison thing, and I just like want his motivation. This is so very selfish. I just want him to be like, I gotta find Karen. I gotta get back to Karen. But then he's gonna find them, and she's gonna be fucking kissing Matt. Apparently, don't even get me started.
Don't kiss Matt.
I fucking hate Matt Murdock. I love him. All Matt Murdock Daredevil lovers fucking hate that bitch. That little stupid slut.
That stupid whore.
Two of my favorite things about Brooke, as like somebody I have gotten to like observe as somebody who's also in like the online nerd punditry space, and as a friend, like when you have a friend who had posts some crazy shit, it hits different. You know exactly what I'm about to say, because I think about it once a week, and I laugh every time. Because there are people who will post about fiction and like LARP as being like, no shade, you're a dear friend, unhealthily horny about a fictional character. There are people who LARP that shit. And then there are
people who live that shit, and
I saw a friend of mine, Brooke. I don't call you Bedazzler. I say to Taylor, hey, Brooke's gonna be on TNAP tomorrow night. And she goes, oh, cool. Because we know this person. I love hearing you say, I hate Matt, and I hate him with Karen. You're also the same motherfucker who called the horns on the cowl handlebars.
Convenient handlebars.
Convenient handlebars. And if I remember correctly, it was the fact that you called them convenient handlebars, which almost sent me into cardiac arrest. I was laughing so hard. Like, some people perform like fictional lust, and then there's handlebars on Daredevil's helmet.
Can I just say, like, who I am online is like exactly who you see like in person. Like, I am not. This is. You know, I feel like there's a lot of people who have like, and everyone has like an exaggerated online persona.
Sure. I'm not actually this angry all the time.
But like, the way that I talk about things, like I think that there have to be some people that think it's a bit. I can assure you,
sure.
my boyfriend can assure you, my real life friends can assure you, it is not a bit. This is just how I am.
Yeah.
And you gotta love it, and you gotta love a convenient handlebar.
Listen,
Will Ravengard, convenient handlebars.
Baby.
Again, Matt,
With the threads.
Just
With
saying, inspired.
the
I know you're not a Will girly, but just think
threads.
about it. Yeah.
With the no, honey, it's not that I'm not a Will. Like, I get it. I get the appeal. I get the. If he was like, would you dance? Yes, I would dance with you, Will Ravengard. Like, I'm not playing around. Like, he is the Bridgerton fantasy version of me. Like, I wish I could have. Like, when I play the game, I wish that like I was playing a character who could be happy. And like, imagine like. Someday I'll play a character who's just like everything's sunshine and rainbows, and she'll fucking live happily ever after with Will. And they'll raise children, and it'll be beautiful, and they'll dance every night under the stars.
You gotta do it once.
I just to get on that, I just need to say this. It's like I can only see so many like step on me blah, 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 that I'm like, okay, like you're performing this. Brooke is a real one. Like, you cannot check Brooke's G card on this kind of shit. And it's just so funny to me that you're like, fuck Matt for being with Karen is so funny to me. Though. That is so
actually
funny
wrong.
to me.
I didn't even finish both of the Netflix shows. Like, I didn't finish the Punisher show, but like, I know it's wrong. They should be together.
Mm-hmm. Who do you want for Matt? Fucking Elektra?
No, him and Jen seemed fun. They seemed like they were having a good time.
That's yes, agree.
Who did
Bring her back?
Jen.
Oh. If I had my druthers, we would be on season 8 of She-Hulk by now. Like, we would be on season 8 of that shit.
I was thinking about I have tattoos of a lot of the different things that I like, and I was like, if I were to get a Daredevil tattoo, I kind of want to get like the silhouette of Matt doing the walk of shame. That would be my Daredevil tattoo.
Barefoot in the ketchup and mustard suit.
Yeah. I love that. If you get it, please let me be there. I'll take you to lunch.
I would want a Daredevil tattoo because he is one of my favorite Marvel
I don't want
heroes.
a Daredevil tattoo. I just want to be there. I'll take you.
The only issue for me is that like my favorite Daredevil thing ever is that quote from him recently in the comics with U.S. Agent, where he is like, if God's on your side, then why did he send the devil, or however he phrases it? Where it's that's
sexy, where he's like low-key hot because he's being evil.
That's what so many people don't get about Matt, is that he truly is one of those characters that is a straight down the middle 50-50. He is a funny, charming, whimsical little slut. And he is also like one of the most dramatic, scary people you've ever met.
And he's also evil.
I wouldn't call Daredevil evil.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just.
And
like...
he's also a bitch.
Thank you.
But
I have you can't even see it. I've got my little matte shelf up there. The one on the top is my little matte shelf.
You are the thing I've been missing.
But coming into our last topic of discussion here.
Do you mean the greatest thing that's ever going to happen in the entire world?
I'm not going to lie. This went from being something that I was like, oh yeah, that's happening, to maybe my most anticipated project of the year. Like, fuck Mandalorian, fuck Avengers, fuck normal Spider-Man.
2 versions every week. 2 versions. You have to watch the authentic and then the true Hugh, baby.
So, Brooke, you're our guest. Again, this is another reason why I was excited to have you on, because this specifically broke. Because this is so much up your like weird little guy alley.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Nick?
How are you feeling about this team?
I don't actually have that many very strong feelings about Nicolas Cage. I am,
he's a cool guy.
National Treasure came out when I was like, I don't know, 10. So like, it was formative years.
He stole that declaration. He
certainly
imprinted
did
on America and you.
And okay, what I'm about to say, I don't know if this is going to make you all be more excited for it or hate me for saying this, but I watched the trailer, and in like the 2010s when like every CW show had that one episode where it was like a dream sequence where they like go back to the 1940s.
Yes.
That
It
is
all looks like that.
exactly the vibe
Oh
and
God,
like
it does all look like that.
level of cinema that I got out of that trailer.
That's so fucking funny.
And you know what? I'm gonna eat it up.
I want to
eat
hear
it up.
Nick Cage as not Peter Parker, Ben fucking Riley go.
That's a swaggier name for that time period, okay?
I so badly want to hear him go. You've never experienced the highs and lows of high school football.
It felt very CW to me, but like in the best way, because I think you can only do this kind of show and make it like camp.
Oh yeah, this show has to be the peak performance of every single person who is showing up at work.
And it's
Everybody
got my
has
guy
to show
Winston
the
in it,
fuck
so
up.
really I have nothing to complain about. It's got Lauren Morris. So
Excited to see it.
I love the angle you took there, Brooke, because I agree with you so much. Like this is like I love when shows and stories are just not just unapologetically out of their minds, like the way this feels like it's going to be, but like unapologetically doing what it's going to do. Like that's why I know I'm in the minority of people who like the Mando and Grogu teaser at the Super Bowl. Like, because
I
I'm
thought it was
like,
so cute. I thought it was funny because it's like I thought it was a Budweiser commercial, and that was like the whole bit.
Yeah,
like,
and then you see the
Tauntauns or the
Tauntauns.
Clydesdales, right? And I was like, oh, that's funny. And then I go online, everyone's like, well, that fucking sucked. I was expecting a trailer. Like, who are they marketing this movie to? And I'm just like, kind of like, I kind of have faith. Not to tangent, but I feel like we always see that a new like Disney Pixar movie is in theaters, but then we don't hear about it. Like we don't see the marketing, and yet it makes $1 billion.
That Elio movie or whatever, one of them.
Yeah, like, and Zootopia too. Like apparently it's like the highest grossing movie of its weekend. Like whatever.
I never heard of it after it came. I didn't even realize it came out.
I kind of have a feeling that the Mandalorian and Grogu movie are going to be kind of in that similar boat because it's fucking Grogu.
Yeah, well, obviously,
I don't know. Or if not, that's what they're banking on, and that's why they're marketing it that way. Anyway,
I said before, say what you will about Hot Ones, Grogu's going to end up on Hot Ones, and I'm going to love my life. But like, I like when things are just unapologetically themselves, and do not ask that you meet it halfway. It's like you're coming to me. Superman was a great example of that, and I think the visual, like just based off of this teaser, I think this is going to be one of those ones that is like, this is a Spider-Man story set in an over-the-top, like really like gritty to the point of like not quite self-parody, but gritty to the point of almost being surreal thing that is also a Spider-Man story. And Nick Cage is playing not Peter Parker. Like again, the reason I bring that up that it's Ben Reilly and not Peter Parker is that this started as this is the Spider-Man noir of the Spider-Verse movies, and that is a Peter Parker. And the fact that they were like, oh no, he's Ben Reilly and that's a big deal. Immediately, I'm like, holy shit, we're going to get a live action Spider-Man noir show that is a spin-off of the Spider-Verse movies. And this is going to be the first time we get an attempt to adapt the Clone Saga. I am calling it right motherfucking now. We are going to get the Clone Saga in Spider-Noir, a show that has no business touching even half of the shit that happens in the Clone Saga, getting into all the sci-fi go fuck yourself nonsense of the Jackal and multiple versions of Peter Clones.
I do think they're just going to double down on the fact that they were like, honestly, there are 3 other like Spider-Man productions that are coming out this year, and it makes more sense for us to just differentiate them all by name. Like we have a Tom Holland's Spider-Man's Peter Parker coming to the screen. We have another Into the Spider-Verse movie upcoming in the future. We also now have Nick Cage's Spider-Man TV show We also have the Amazing Spider-Man or the Friendly Neighborhood Spider. I don't even remember
Yeah,
what the animated
for the
show is.
neighborhood.
So like we already have 4 or 5 different versions of Spider-Man coming out. Maybe we should start using different names for the
I just
one guy.
I just think it's so inspired. Like I only watched the trailer in black and white, but like,
Oh, I'm
just
so excited.
I love the characters they're choosing to tag in here, like
Robbie
having Felicia
Robertson.
Hardy. Sure, I'm sorry, what's Cat
Matt
Hardy?
Hardy.
This is also
Matt Hardy.
difficult for me because I got to remember like the noir versions of these characters, like Cat Hardy, Silvermane, which is so cool. Those are one of those Spider-Man villains. I was like, you're never gonna touch Silvermane, and now he's here. Um, we're getting a version of Sandman.
And that's
We're getting
Brendan
a
Gleeson too, correct?
Yeah, Brendan Gleeson is
Mm-hmm.
playing Silvermane, which is really fucking cool.
That's
I can't wait
absolutely
to see him with the white hair.
wild.
I can't wait to see him with the white hair. We have Sandman. We have Flint and Marco. We don't know if he'll become Sandman, but we see Molten Man with powers. We see Electro
With
with
powers.
powers. There's actually going to be a version of Man Spider in this because we see like someone in a cage with the fucked up thing. That's why I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
clone saga. I think Man Spider is Peter Parker. I think Man Spider is Peter Parker. There's going to be some fuck shit, and somehow Nick Cage, Ben Riley is the clone. I'm being so serious. I think we're getting the clone saga.
Oh,
I
and what if this is I'm putting my new girl tinfoil hat
ooh,
on
ooh,
because Jake Johnson is the voice of Peter Parker in the Into the
Peter B.
Spider-Verse movies,
Parker.
and Lamorne Morris, who was Winston on New Girl, is in this
Yes.
show. What if they make him like Man Spider, even if it's just the voice? I would love
I'm
that.
in. Sure. Again, I mean, these are one of those instances where it's like this is so out of its mind as a pitch, and again, like the Spider-Man Noir comics, I haven't read much of them. Most of my knowledge of it comes from Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, one of my favorite games as a kid, which like watching this trailer makes me want to replay so badly, and I wish that it was available like on like modern consoles and shit as like a remaster because it's a great game. Um I don't know if this is a comics thing. I believe it is. Do y'all know how Uncle Ben dies in this universe?
I know nothing
In Nick
about
Cage's
this.
universe?
Well,
Yeah.
in classic Spider-Man Noir, which again is still Peter Parker, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Hell no.
Ben Parker is killed by the Vulture.
Oh,
And
the
not
guy
just
we
killed by
see.
the Vulture, he is eaten alive by the Vulture.
Oh, that's
Thanks.
nasty.
Like the
Speaking of, sorry,
what?
Jared, do you think I'm gonna get my favorite character in Spider-Man Noir?
I don't think we're getting the lizard in Spider Noir.
No, I want the lizard. I want everybody to be lizards.
I don't think we're gonna get. I mean, we might get Kirk Connors. I don't know if we'll get lizard.
No, I want everybody to be a lizard.
I don't know that that's gonna
Oops,
happen.
all lizards.
Oops,
Oh,
all lizards.
lizard is honestly the greatest thing that could happen to me.
But no, what I love so much about this is again like it feels almost manic, and it's like blending these. It's blending all of like the crime noir aesthetics, like Lord and Miller, who I have a lot of opinions about as creatives and as like people, but they are, pardon my hiccups, they're good at their jobs. They're kind of divas and kind of assholes. But they were talking about how like the color version of the show looks kind of like just a recolorized version of the black and white. Like there's so much crime noir element here and like the nature of the story that Ben Riley, I can't believe I'm saying this, that Ben Riley is going to be investigating like a series of assassination attempts against Silvermane. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. That's really fun and inspired. But also so many other moments in the teaser, like you get like a manic, almost like psychotic break energy where like he's like staring at the spider in the jar and he's like he's making Nick Cage faces at the camera. Like I never would have predicted this show would exist. I never would have predicted that that the first teaser would feel like this. I am
Yeah.
unbelievably excited. I am unbelievably excited. And yeah. I uh, Taylor, your thoughts. I've been rambling. You said you were very excited for it. I'll let
Oh,
you
I
click here.
cannot wait. I did. I watched the authentic black and white trailer, and then I watched the true hue colored version, and I absolutely thought that some of the color choices in the true hue version was absolutely inspired. One of the choices that I distinctly remember was a close-up shot of Nick Cage in the background. Obviously, in the black and white version, it looks totally normal, natural. Everything looks so regular, and in the color, the true hue version, it is yellow. The walls are yellow, which I
Yeah,
thought was very fascinating. Like from a literature standpoint, you have like the yellow wallpaper, not like short story where the yellow wallpaper is a symbolism of this woman's descent into madness and all of these other things. But like depression and isolation and all of these all of these specific subjects that like lead into a down spiral of madness and introvertedness and what it means to be real. And I when I saw the color choices that they were making with the background and with the characters' outfits, I was I find myself completely enraptured. Like I'm so excited. I am so excited to watch the to initially, and I feel like I will always watch the black and white version first because that is the authentic version that we are supposed to take in. But from a more critical lens, taking in the true hue version and seeing those colors because colors do represent like different messages and meanings throughout all of art, but like seeing what those scenes actually look like, I think it will be very fascinating. I think that this is going to be a very artistic departure from a lot of the media that we have been consuming. Like I think that there are going to be a lot of choices that are made here that are vastly more artistic in nature than they would be consumer friendly.
yeah. This already feels incredibly risky.
It feels
Mhm.
like everything like it feels like something that is so necessary right now for people because we discussed earlier the Netflixification of you need to word vomit the plot so that way people who are on their phones can still understand what's going on. This does not seem like a thing that can happen during the show
Mhm.
at all. It seems like if you look away from the show you're going to miss parts of the show, and that's how TV works.
Mhm.
um I think that there is a very beautiful, like, and again, like even just watching the trailer like once over, I was like I was like, wow, that was a complete departure from what I would have imagined that scene would have looked like. Or I'm looking at the black and white version of the secretary character and like imagining what she's wearing, and to see then the color, the true hue version of it, and being like, oh, that was a total departure, because colors symbolize, like, they say something about what the character is wearing. And yeah, it just, I think that this is something in a time period where I feel like we are losing we are losing the ancient texts. We are losing like
We're losing recipes. We're
we are
losing
losing the
recipes.
recipes. We are losing the a foundational ability to understand and contextualize media and art without it being told to us what it is supposed to be.
Mhm.
And I am so excited to see a show that is like, no, we're just gonna show. We're not gonna tell. We're gonna show you, this
Mhm.
femme fatale character, and you have to determine, this, that, or the other. Is she right? Is she wrong? Is the main character, is our male protagonist, is he sane? Is he insane? Is he, I think that
A
we are
clone.
uh, we are losing those like we are losing those things that like allow us as individuals to conceptualize art. um and again, I think it's solely because we have given up that control. Like, every day this week I've been talking to like women much older than me who are like, yeah, I everybody seems to like have read a book that was read to them. um that their phone told them the plot, and
I asked
I remember
ChatGPT and they told me.
exactly, and like the girl, like the women are like, I remember reading the book in fucking actual high school in the 1980s because that's how you had to do books in the 1980s.
Yeah.
And I just think it's I'm very I want I think I am personally so very desperate for a return to the like, no, yeah, you actually do have to read this book to like understand what's going on in it, and we're not just going to give you the spark notes. We're not just going to let you like half-ass the thing. You have to full-ass it. And even if you're bad at full-assing it, that's okay still because you still did it. Like you can still get the cookie for you finish the book. You don't have to like be good at it. You just have to be able to finish it.
No, I agree with a lot of that. And like, I don't know, maybe it's because like, on Pro Noob on the Mitch692 channel, where Mitch is showing me Attack on Titan right now. And I have maybe it's just because like Attack on Titan uses really like Attack on Titan
A show
uses
very confusing to me who has not watched it but has seen some of it.
yeah, you
Like most
you
like how I just described how people read books is how I watched Attack on Titan.
you just end up being in the room for the most consequential episodes that have zero context, and it's
Yep, that's
hilarious.
exactly how I just described people reading books today.
But like Attack on Titan as a show, it's because it's on the mind, obviously, uses foreshadowing as such a like precise and deadly weapon. Like it has the subtlety of a sniper rifle round because if you're not looking for it and you don't know where to look, like Attack on Titan is very much one of those stories to me so far that the moment you finish it and you go back and watch it, you will like pick up on the way that there are things that are telegraphed to you in such a plain way that you would, but in a way that you would have zero reason to even be looking for. And I love storytelling like that. And like because something like a detective noir, like the very concept of objective reality is going to be on trial with this because we have somebody who is a truth seeker as a detective, and you have somebody who, again, they make a big deal in the Spider-Verse movies of making it clear that Peter Parker served in World War II, that like he's always like like hitting
I'm punching
Nazis and shit.
Nazis.
I would not be surprised if part of this is a story about Ben Riley having to grapple with subjective reality because he experienced some amount of trauma during World War II. And I think that the very existence of two different versions of the same episode is going to be a meditation on that subjective reality. That's part of why just the fact that there's a man spider and the fact that they're making a big deal out of the fact that it's a choice that this is Ben Riley is why there's a part of my brain that's already screaming Clone Saga. And and it's because of that. Like I'm already seeing this idea of duality and like of subjective reality. It's there are two things, they're equally true. One has more context, one is more black and white. I'm already beginning to see that, and it's one of those instances where just the teaser alone has so much to chew on and unpack. Aside from the Mr. Negative's there, and Sandman and Molten Man, Electro.
Mr. Negative's not there.
He is apparently. Apparently, there are people pointing out that you can see like the Martin Lee glowy effect in one of the alleyway
That was
shots.
Vulture, it looked like, according to my Twitter. My number one source of news, Elon Musk.
But hey, Grok, who's in the fucking Spider-Noir trailer?
At Grok context.
It is so bananas to me every time that like I am on, because I use Twitter the same way that I use that like, listen, I am at heart 95 years old, okay? And I just don't want to get rid of my newspaper, okay? I really
That's
don't
so
want to get rid of my
valid.
newspaper. I like my newspaper. I like the way it's formatted, and I just read it. It's so bizarre seeing every news article followed by Ask Judy. Hey Judy, can you tell me more? Grok
Is
context?
Judy Grok? Okay, that's what I thought you were getting at.
because it's a very old lady thing. My grandma would have really hit that joke. So it's just like it is so bizarre to see like every single like thing on the screen just be followed by like at Grok context.
Well, I mean, part of
It's
it,
like,
part of
what
it
the fuck
is
do you mean? Did you not? How did you type that if you didn't even read the sentence? Because that
well,
is the
when you
context.
monetize
That is the context.
when you monetize engagement on arguments.com
Mhm.
and
My
you
number one source of
monetize
news.
engagement
Yeah.
on arguments.com, and then you know that a Grok response is going to like flood responses to it. Like that is such a huge part of it, which is why like Twitter has just like jumped off a cliff. And that's like I only experience Twitter from a distance anymore because like I
It's
don't
just
I don't want
recycled
to do
Tumblr
it
posts and then Grok context.
at Grok context.
Lots
But
of lots of vague posting I see, and then I'm like, I don't like AI, so I scroll through all the comments to see like what is the context here. Someone has to have had to have answered it.
Somebody has to have answered it. And
somebody
it is
has
not
to
like
have the
Yahoo
context.
Forums. It is not like Yahoo Forums. Yahoo Forums, everybody, there used to be always somebody who would answer the question. And now
There is always someone
there's
from Reddit
nobody.
like 12 years ago that has the same exact problem that
Well,
you
and
do.
the problem is that we no longer have those guys. Like those guys are not answering questions anymore. Like
Right.
they have put
It's
them,
gonna
they
be
have
it's
put
a dying
a
art.
paywall behind it. They have
Yeah.
put their answer
You
behind
got
a
to
paywall.
subscribe to somebody's Substack to figure out how to like change a very specific part in a sync.
Yes, yes. It is the most minute thing that you could think of on the internet. Like, who was in this episode of Beat Bobby Flay from 2003, season 5, episode 7? Like, you can't find that out anymore. You have to subscribe to some guy's paywall.
But with all that, do you have any other thoughts on Spider-Noir, or are we ready to bring this puppy home?
I'm just here for a good time.
I love New Girl.
I can't wait for this fucking show.
Real.
Wait for this fucking show. I was not expecting to be this excited for it. I was like, oh yeah, Nick Cage is getting the Spider-Man Noir show. Yeah, sure, it'll happen. And then
I
saw
just
it, and I'm like,
appreciate the silliness of it. Like I love the risk taking with like, this is this guy, Nicolas Cage is Nicolas Cage and everything. But he was a voice of this character in this animated movie that we're gonna just like take him out of the pluck him out and put him in this. And yeah, I love it.
And now weird little guys have rarely been weirder.
Yeah.
There's not a bigger weird little guy.
That's so true.
I can't wait.
At like 6'1", there isn't.
I'm also realizing we desperately need new press photos of Tom Holland in Brand New Day, because I'm pretty sure I'm 3 fucking thumbnails in a row of using the same picture of Brand New Day Spider-Man.
Just use a picture from like his like non-alcoholic beer line, and then just
no. Listen, man.
Photoshop over the
Taylor.
costume.
We've been over this. Unlike some YouTube channels, our thumbnails aren't an orgy of circles and arrows. I need to put Tom Holland Spider-Man in the thumbnail or we'll get any clicks.
I don't know. I think you should have a couple more circles and arrows. I think you need a little bit of an orgy of circles and arrows. Just put more circles and arrows.
According to Taylor, one of the funniest mean things I've ever said.
Yeah, is that somebody's thumbnail looked like an orgy of circles and arrows.
I mean, hey, you can't teach
the shoe fits.
You can't teach an old rock star new tricks. Oops. Anyway, with all that said, Brooke, where can the lovely people find you, my dear friend?
You can find me sometimes on places online. I am some variation of Bedazzler, usually _Bedazzler_, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, Twitch, I think is B__Dazzler. I haven't streamed in like 8 months, but if you ever want to, maybe sometimes I play The Last of Us on there and other things. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Go follow Brooke. Brooke's fucking awesome. I love getting to hang out with Brooke. Also, real quick, I forgot to say, we did get some news out of the PlayStation State of Play. We actually delayed recording because I thought we were going to get something about Wolverine and we didn't. Brooke, did you keep up with the state of play at all?
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay. I can't wait to play the chicken with a sword game.
I was so confused by that. So we had just eaten dinner and I was doing the dishes, so I was like not totally paying attention, but I was like I watched the beginning of it and then I like turned around and my boyfriend just goes, "A chicken." And I was like, "Huh?"
Chicken.
And then I was like, "Where's the chicken?" And then he was like, "No, look, you like I think your play is a giant chicken." And I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?"
You play as a gigantic magical samurai chicken. None of this is ironic. None of this is played for laughs. I am sure this has roots in some type of folklore. But it was like, I remember looking at it, I'm like, this is insane. This is insane. This is some of the coolest sword play I've ever seen. Hold on, Taylor. I'll pull up the trailer. You need to see this shit.
I want to see the chicken.
You need to see the sword chicken. What's the game even called? I can't even remember. I'm just calling it sword chicken. Windless. Okay, hold on. Hold on. This shit fucking rips.
I see. Look, Brooke. Okay. I don't like zombies. Not into them. I don't like people eating people. I think it's weird.
That's fair. That's fine.
Everybody else loves it. Cool. Love that for them. And I, whatever. What the fuck was I going with that?
But you're down for a chicken with a samurai sword?
Video games I don't like. So I can't play The Last of Us. Like I can't. I just can't.
Mhm.
That's scary, terrifying, horrible. That sounds like the worst thing I could ever do. Baldur's Gate is the perfect game for me because everything is not scary and I have full control over everything. Okay. Just like The Sims. Love The Sims.
Yeah.
Obviously it seems like I like to micromanage communities of large like on a large scale. I watch Jared play video games. Like I can't play Fortnite because I don't blink. Like I will sit there for 2 minutes and Jared will be like, "Your eyes are red. You need to blink." And I'm like,
there was one time she was playing Fortnite. I was in the kitchen making myself something to eat. My back was to her, and I'm like making a salad. I went, "Honey, you need to blink," and she went, "Thank you," and like in the most strained voice I've ever heard in my life. But hold on,
so scary. It's so scary. So like, I cannot play games that are not like entirely user like. The only game that I think I want to play is the little kitty cat game.
Stray.
Oh, I love Stray. It's so good.
That sounds like a perfect video game for me.
It's very fun and very little like combat. Like so you very like little risk of dying.
But do I get to like explore and I get to look at a map? That sounds like heaven.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you got a little backpack.
I'm so upset that I told you the premise of this game. You just experienced this when everybody else saw, like, ooh, okay, like dark fantasy vibes. What's going on with this scary lady holding a heart?
I thought she was kind of hot. I wasn't going to call her scary, but whatever.
Yeah, I need to ring the bird that drinks tears.
Shut up, Jared. The hot lady's talking.
You filthy
Fair enough.
creatures. Faithless, soulless, unclean.
Like I said, I'm sitting at work watching this teaser, and I'm like, ooh, what's this? What's this like? I'm like, I have no idea what to expect.
How dare
and then I'm like, hold on, I'm gonna turn the audio down a little bit more because I don't want to get hit on copyright shit.
Stop! The hot lady is talking.
Okay, well, guess what? Because the samurai chicken's about to show up. They're all afraid of this fucking guy.
Oh.
Foghorn Leghorn is back and he's fucking angry.
I can't wait for the fanfics.
Honestly, Brooke, you knew exactly where I was going. So here's the thing. We live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of Anthrocon.
Taylor, you need to look at this. He just threw a double-sided sword.
This is what I'm going to see
honestly
during Anthrocon. This
would.
Is it.
Now that I'm like watching it in its entirety,
honey,
would.
You're so far behind me. I saw him appear and I was like, oh, I get it.
I get it. Yeah.
I get it.
This is so cool.
It's okay, Brooke. I'll save you a room for Anthrocon.
Hell yeah.
But that shit's awesome. But we also got a date for Marvel Tokon Fighting
Whoa,
Soul.
we'll host you, don't worry.
It's coming out, I believe it's August 8th. That is a game I'm very excited for. I love fighting games already. Give a new fighting game a shot. But yeah, little bit from State of Play. But like I said, go follow Brooke on all the things. Underscores may vary. Taylor, where can the lovely people find you, my dear?
Oh, you can find me at Quicksilver, GRRL, at Blue Sky whatever thingy, I think. Right? Did I do it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
At bluesky.social, but I'm never going to
whatever.
correct you on that.
Did I do the first part right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Jared, where can anybody find you?
You guys can find me personally on Instagram and Blue Sky at Dark Jedi 2552, and you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, and on our website, thenerdacademypodcast.com, where if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon.
Which
Give me $1.
What were you saying?
Which in other words means that you actually subscribe to be my best friend.
Yes. When subscribing to the Patreon, you become one of Taylor's best friends.
Yep.
However, at the $10 tier, you also get a shout out at the end of every episode. So thank you to Paco and Ray Clausen.
It's like a non-consensual best friend thing.
Yeah. If you subscribe at the $5 tier or higher,
it's the opposite of a parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
I am parasocially obsessed with you.
But if you subscribe at the $5 tier or higher, you get early access to every episode of our MCU rewatch show, The Road to Doomsday, as well as exclusive access to our audio commentary series for the
where
movies.
You hear all of my thoughts and feelings.
Right now on The Road to Doomsday on Patreon, we are banked up all the way to The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. When you're seeing this, you are days away from our Infinity War episode. So if you want to blast through the rest of the Infinity Saga and begin the multiverse saga with Taylor and I, as well as a handful of friends, please consider checking out our Patreon. We have a great time doing The Road to Doomsday, except no substitute. And yeah, go check that out. You can also catch me over on, as I said earlier, Pro and Noob on the Mitch692 channel. Our coverage of Attack on Titan Season 3 will be beginning on Monday. I am almost at the end of the show. There's a lot of episodes of Pro and Noob banked up already.
I'm almost at the end of the show.
Taylor's also at the end of the show.
A show I've never seen. but
I'm having a great time with Attack on Titan, so check that out. Also, check out Epic Confrontations, the Star Wars Trivia League I'm in. Brooke has competed before.
I've also competed
in the Hyperspace
Gauntlet. I was going to say it before he could anyway. I was going to fucking bulldoze him.
So check all of that out.
It's the end of the episode. I have to just absolutely
go
shit out of Jared.
I mean, hey, you've been, because Mitch isn't here, you've been relatively nice.
So good.
It is proof that it is when Mitch is on the show is when you turn into a menace.
No, yeah, that is actually very true because he's meaner to you.
He is, but he makes you meaner to me.
Yeah, then he makes me want to be meaner to you.
But with all of that said,
you, and then I'm like, nah, I got to do better.
can't let this British man outclass us. But with all of that said, thank you again to Brooke for joining us for this episode. We very much needed the insight on the inside baseball with a lot of the Last of Us stuff. I had a great time talking about all of that. So check out everything I said.
The games the most.
This coming Monday, like I said, is going to be the Infinity War episode of The Road to Doomsday. Very excited for that. Can't believe we were as far as we've gotten because there's a lot to get through and even more coming down the barrel. But with all of that, thank you so much for watching and listening, and class dismissed.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!